All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Wrike Things. We got Matt and Ryan here. We're going to jump right into some content. So, before we get started, Ryan, what do you have on the plate to cover today?
Yeah, so I'm going to cover a couple of things, but mainly focus on the integrations with Klaxoon and what we've done with them so far, right? This product just came out. We've had it for about 60 days now, and it's pretty impressive how far we've come with those integrations. So I'm going to cover those first three phases, and then right after you cover something, I'm also going to show you guys something in Labs that is definitely worth turning on right away. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, stick around for that. Yeah, I'm going to jump in and show some of our new workload metric tools, right? Like taking Wrike from this world of where we're doing the work, now also how do we analyze and improve the work we're doing? So I'm excited about some of these new dashboards that we released. So I'll jump in and show those. So Ryan, why don't you take it away? Let's jump into the integrations. Excited to see this.
Perfect. All right, so quick lay of the land here. I'm hopping into Klaxoon and I've got kind of an ideation workshop. And it's a little marketing focused, but essentially we've had a bunch of people come in and they've dropped some ideas for some of the initiatives we want to run or campaigns or different things we want to run with in the marketing realm. Now, a couple things that I want to point out before we get into the Wrike integration, and I've been playing with these and I love this aspect of what Klaxoon can do. But I have all of these ideas, and then I can actually come in and switch over to a column view, right? And I can apply different colors to, let's say, levels of urgency or timelines, however like we want to use those colors. Or I can switch over to categories and I can take all of the ideas that my team have dropped in and then I can apply them to different categories, whether it be digital advertising or content marketing. Use your imagination here. But once you've done that and you switch back to the board view, you have this really nice, beautiful view of all of these ideas now categorized and classified under a sense of urgency. So quickly, one of the things I just love doing before I move stuff into Wrike is using some of the Klaxoon AI features. And this time I'm going to use group by topic. So it's actually going to take all those categories that I created and then it's going to group them by those categories, but it's still going to maintain those color coordinates on sense of urgency. Now, obviously the red ones were marked as like urgent, must do now. Maybe the green ones were like, low hanging fruit. Let's work on those right away. To get those into Wrike, this is kind of phase one of our integration. So I click on these objects, go ahead and click the three dots and then say convert to Wrike. And so what this does is it's going to ask me to map this to a specific space into a specific project and or folder. So I like that you kind of have both of the options there. And then once you choose that marketing project, you can actually map these to individual custom item types, right? So if you're leveraging custom item types for things like creative assets or brochures or print and digital, all the different things that maybe you're creating, you can actually link those to CITs there. So upon hitting convert, it just takes a few seconds. Then it's going to take those and it's creating objects over in Wrike. Now, as I open one of these, you'll start to notice that it's already mapping some data between the two
Oh,
systems,
yeah.
like status, importance, author, create date, and update. And if we open that object over in Wrike, you'll see it's created this new sub item directly underneath that project. And just to show you how real time that is, if I switch that over to in progress within Wrike and we come back to here, it's already done, right? It's that fast that before I hopped back, it's already completed. Now, think about that. Think about how you can get that kind of eagle eye view on all of the ideas, but now you're actually seeing the statuses on those ideas as they go through execution within Wrike. It's pretty neat. So that was kind of phase one. Phase two, quick demo of that. I'll find a nice clear space here, is kind of the opposite direction. Let's say we have a bunch of items within Wrike that we'd like to get into Klaxoon. You're in manufacturing and you're using your Wrike request form to get all your feedback from a product or from some project that you're working on. You could come into here and you can grab an import folder or wherever all those ideas are coming from. Again, it's going to automatically do an identification of what custom item types exist there so you can filter down to them or just go ahead and hit import all. And just like that, I've brought those Wrike objects now into a Klaxoon board where we can move them around and kind of visually link them or create kind of workflow maps or guided charts, calendars, whatever you think you might want to do with those. So a lot of great use cases there, and that's the second integration. For the third integration that we've done so far, we're going to hop back into Wrike, and I'm just going to point out across the top here that under the Add Files section, we now have a new Add Whiteboard feature. And by clicking that, it's going to go out to your Klaxoon environment where you can go grab one of your boards and put it directly into one of your Wrike objects as an attached item. Now, what I like about this the most is as you change that board, or if you need to make changes to that board, it's going to also apply to what you have attached. So it's not creating a snapshot, it's attaching the live board. So it's always going to be there with the latest and greatest update. Um, that's how far we've come, but I will say stay tuned. Q2 is right around the corner, and we have a lot of exciting integrations coming our way and some visions on how this is going to look down the road.
First, Ryan, it's shocking just how far we've come. I feel like every time I see the integration, there's new capabilities, new features coming, and just new pieces of value. So I love seeing here's from Klaxoon into Wrike, reverse, and then all of a sudden now being able to visualize some of those boards in it. I was talking with my wife last week. She had a work trip, and she spent all day with her team, and they're out on the old fashioned, whiteboard, drawing things and mapping these things. And then you get to the end of the day, what are you doing? You're taking a picture, right? And then you get back and you have to turn that picture into either, tasks or work or something from that standpoint. And all I was thinking as she was talking about this, like, imagine what Klaxoon is going to be able to do, right? When you could
Yeah.
really get these teams together, you put it out there, and immediately, like in a matter of clicks there, you turned it into work.
Ironically, I was on a work site trip a couple weeks ago, and the entire wall was a whiteboard, but we all logged into Klaxoon. I've got the shiny new toy. I wanted to show it off. I had
Yeah,
everybody
sure.
join the board. In 3 days, not a single one of us touched a dry erase marker. We did everything digitally and all walked away with a copy at the end. So you're 100% right, Matt. Like it is going to be a game changer for those that aren't in like doing virtual visual collaboration yet. You're gonna love it. So, uh,
So those, you're
on
telling
to
me
you.
those days of when we'd leave the room with like the dry erase marker when you're using your fist to wipe it off, those days are gone, right?
Those
Gone.
days are gone. Yeah.
All right.
So,
Your demo's a great transition. That last one where you're showing work going from Wrike into Klaxoon and then doing some process mappings sets the stage perfectly for where I want to show today. So um, I was talking about just the ability to improve our processes and work. So I'm actually showing you my team space today. So a little bit of Wrike behind Wrike here, or how we're using Wrike. And what one of the services my team does is we provide demo assistance, solution assistance. So we're often deploying Wrike environments, and these come in via request. So it's very similar to a ticketing process, right? So you could see here what we've always had is an understanding of how many requests are we getting per month, right? Overall metrics for these. We could see all time, like what are these grouped by, right? What are the types of requests we're getting? What are we needing to service, right? And then even breaking that down month by type. And I've loved having this report because it gives you a lot of data and a lot of information of the type of services that we're providing to the company. But what this doesn't necessarily give you is that ability to go through and improve, right? Like where do we want to change or where do we want to adapt? So 2 weeks ago now, the team released a new set of capabilities within our dashboards that allow us to do process analysis. So I've actually started building these boards to look at some of our own processes, and I love it, right? So what these allow us to do is start evaluating how much time we've spent in different workflow statuses, or even the flow of work through these various workflow statuses. So right here at the top, you could see, right? Like one of our goals this year is we want to get more efficient in this process. So I've got a month over month of actual data that shows how much time are we spending on each request per month, right? So across the board. And right now, I got to give kudos to the team. Look at that. We went from, 6 days on an average request all the way to 2 days here in the month of March. But then we also could jump into things like the total time we've spent into status. So can we understand like where are our tickets getting caught, right? Like we see a lot of tickets sticking in that deferred status, right? Or even the average time, right? Maybe that sends a little bit different message. And then also I could scroll down and see this from an employee basis, right? Like how long has each employee been spending in status? And certainly we could even look at it from a customer lens. Like, do we have certain customers that are giving more difficult tickets that we need to understand differently? And then finally, one that I love, especially for a ticketing workflow, is this interrupted workflow. So one of the questions I've gotten internally is, Matt, what is an interrupted workflow? That's a situation where you go to say a completed status, but then you have to actually bring that backwards, right? And maybe in this situation, a ticket was completed. We thought the customer was happy, and then they come back and like, not so fast. My problem's not resolved. So you actually could start seeing like, are there certain situations where we're actually our workflow, the natural workflow, is getting interrupted and broken the other way? So the question might be now is how do I use these? So I wanted to really quick show this. So these are out in your account now. So there's a few different ways that you could access these. So if we come in to this dashboard and we build a new widget, right? The first thing that I'm going to want to do is create a custom widget here. So I will go ahead and hone in on just our help request custom item type here. So the first thing to know is the metrics, right? So I'm down here on the right side, right? You could come in and add a metric. What you're going to see is we have status metrics now, right here. So there's four of these to keep an eye on. The first is status changes, the total time spent in status, average time spent in status, and max time spent on status. I'm not going to show you all of these. You saw those in the chart, but those would be ones to play with and start looking at how you can evaluate in your environment. So now let's
Matt.
jump into status change. Oh, go ahead, Ryan. Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I love this. This is the kind of data that I love to see. And I think to the Kanban boards, right? And there's days in status and how just that visual indicator has done so much for me and for our team. But now you get these in dashboards. And then, once you're done here too, I noticed because I was playing around with these last week as well, and I noticed that we even have some of these templatized. So maybe you can show that too.
Yeah, I'm going to get there. So
Correct.
the jumping into the status changes here, right? One of the things I want to show next is break by. Like now we have status changes, and if we come in here, you could see these, and these are really powerful. So you've got the ability to break by status before changes, status after changes, and you could even break by this again. So what this is doing is this is showing those interrupted workflows. So you could see like where was the status before a change? Where did it go after that change happened, right? So now you're starting to see the flow of work within your system, right? Last thing I want to show that you called out, Ryan, is the widgets and the templates. And this is a little bit of homework for everyone. So challenge everyone here watching, go get started with these. But if you want a quick way to get started, the team has already released three templates: interrupted workflows, average status time, and total time active. That way you could build these, you could get some samples, point it to some of your own data, and then start adapting and adjusting from there. So that is the new workflow metrics. Like here's the world of process improvement brought into Wrike in our new dashboard. So pretty excited about that, Ryan.
Nice, nice. I am too. And I didn't realize you were going to give homework because I was going to give homework here in a second. So
It's going to be a tough day for our viewers, but
yeah, you guys are it's going to be like that move from elementary to middle school. So you're getting maybe two assignments, but mine's pretty fun too. This one though, I'm going to put a little asterisk on. This is something that's in labs, and if you've never played around with labs, you have to have account owner status to enable these. Or maybe you're friends with the account owner and say, hey, could you toggle this on so I can play with it? But when something's in labs, it's essentially still in beta and it's not full release yet. So keep that in mind. I'll show you how to turn it on here in a second. But what it is it's a completely redesigned filter system. So what you're familiar with is when you click that filter button up at the top of the table view, you're used to that column on the right-hand side that kind of drops out and you choose between projects and tasks, and then you kind of filter down on all the different fields that are available, including custom fields. Here's the change. When I click the filter, it now drops down a filter pane across the top. And some of the things that I really love is that you're going to get some additional language on how you're able to filter these objects once you choose one. So, for instance, if I choose start date, you'll notice that I now get a drop date of Is the start date? Is before, after, is empty, is not empty. On some of these objects, you'll get does contain, does not contain. So you can actually get negative filtering now,
Oh
which
yeah.
is huge, right? Show me
Yeah.
all of my tickets where they are not completed or, not having to go check the boxes. You're now getting more of a language-based filtering module. Um, Matt, I don't know about you, but I get excited about this. I think it's an incredible new way of doing filtering, and it's going to be so much more easy to use, but then also so much more effective on the way that we can filter data in these views.
Yeah, I get, the question all the time on certain things when we're talking with a customer and showing something there. They're like, "Do I have to have a master's in IT to do this?" And this is another example of where we're giving the ability to filter and just making it just that natural process. And no, you don't have to have a master's in IT. You could just go about this, look about how you would normally want to filter this, start typing it in, and next thing you know, you've got it filtered. So that's awesome to see.
Yeah, I think it's great. The negative filtering as well, like is not, is just a
Yeah.
new thing that I'm gonna just I fall in love with right away. But let me show you guys how to turn this on. It's really simple. If you have that question mark in the top right hand corner, the Wrike Assistant, you can click on that. Head on down to the very bottom link where it says Labs, and that's gonna pop open the Wrike Labs. Now, there's a bunch of labs that are in here that are great. Obviously, scroll through if you've never been here and take a look at some of the things that we have. Our new AI work intelligence previews are in there. We've got some things about dashboards if you like the classic ones and you want to hang on to them. But right at the very top, you can go ahead as an account owner and you can enable the new redesigned filters in table view. Play around with them. Let us know in the comments below what you think of both these and the new metrics that Matt just showed. And we'd love to chat with you more about them. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. We look forward to the next episode. We've already got some great stuff lined up for it, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.